Hey everybody, Jamie Kelly here. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Season 3 of the Approximate Podcast. Be sure to join our Patreon for only $5 a month to see all of Season 3's episodes in full HD video. That's patreon.com/Approximate Podcast. If you're already a patron, thank you so much for your support. And to everyone who's tuned in, we love you all. And now, on with the show. Kitty! Fucking stop it! God damn it. Fucking cat. Yeah, you. Oi. Scrapple. Stop it. Alright, cut. We're done. Fucking cat. God damn it. As of the time of this recording, we are all fresh off of the Transgender Erotica Awards. How was your experience, Emily?
It was super exciting. I mean, I wasn't as nervous as last year when it was my first time in the US and then at the TEAs. I didn't know anyone in the industry like in the US before. And this year, it was really nice because I got to meet so many friends I made last year and make some new friends. And I had a really good time, even though I was so busy. Like I was shooting every day, all week, and even on the day of the TEA Awards, I had a shoot at noon.
On the day of the awards, wow.
Yeah, we were shooting at noon and then back to the hotel, getting ready, and yeah, but I had a blast. It was amazing. How about your time there?
This year, I overplanned and overbooked hotel stay for the express purpose of doing the exact opposite of your experience, which is just to lay in bed all day and have no pressure and be able to. There's basically two functions during the award ceremony. There's an official party, pre-party, that happens on like day one. Then the powers that be give you a day to rest, and then the awards the following day. And I wanted to make sure that there were 2 days before all that and 2 days after to where I could just lay in bed and not do anything, not answer my phone. Just eat junk food and have plenty of time to prepare for the party. Sleep, awards, sleep, home.
Yeah, good plan.
But and that plays into what I'm up to again as of the time of this recording. I'm on a bit of a production hiatus anyway. So, coming out to the awards was to show I was a sponsor this year.
Yeah.
Generally a sponsor most years. So you got to make appearances. You got to show up. And I was nominated for a few things. And
you won one also, right?
I won Miss Unique.
Yes.
Which I told a joke on stage that did not fly. I said winning Miss Unique is akin to winning an award for world's tallest midget. Crickets, nothing. So I just zoomed straight along to all the pleasantries and got the fuck off stage.
I think sometimes it's a bit difficult to understand the people on stage because there's like so many people talking in the audience.
It's a loud event.
Reverb as well.
They had to stop at every moment. Like, can y'all shut the fuck up?
Oh yeah. Our MC that night was actually quieting the crowd. Old Domino Presley.
Yeah.
But I was actually kind of glad that there was like this all-time distraction because I was presenting an award for the first time together with Jeremy, who was amazing. But we were both so nervous and we had no idea what we were doing. But in the end, afterwards, everyone told me, "Oh, you did great," even though we were just being pushed on stage and standing there awkwardly for a moment. And yeah, I hope next year it's gonna be. I will feel a bit more comfortable on stage.
Oh yeah, you naturally that'll happen
for sure.
Yeah.
So, a buddy of mine in the industry, Ava Holt, came to me before the proceedings, and she was telling me about how she had to, present for an award.
Yeah.
And she was super, super nervous. And I said, "What? Now, wait a minute, honey. Everybody in this room, you've either seen naked or been naked with. You've been inside half of these people." Yeah, half of them been inside you. Like, you have nothing to be nervous about. You don't even have to do that trick where you imagine the audience in their underwear.
You already know.
You already know.
Yeah, but still, it feels like different. I mean, I was kind of surprised. Like, I mean, I have no problem being fucked like on camera whatsoever. But as soon as I have to get on a stage with a room full of people, like all the adrenaline kicks in.
It does, yeah.
Also last
get
year
that.
when I was
Performance
in,
anxiety.
yeah, when I was in Miami for the XBiz Creator Awards, I think CAM Awards they were called last year, and I was called on stage because I won a thing, and I didn't expect it, and my voice was just cracking, and I was like, oh my god, please say something.
My voice is cracked on stage, either presenting something to somebody or accepting an award, and I was like, damn it, I'm dry right now. So you think in your head, and you're just like, okay, let me just carry on. Hope they didn't notice it. They fucking noticed it. That's fine. This year was crazy for me. It was like my first year back in like 6 years to the
It's been
awards.
6 years for you, huh?
Yeah, I went like 5 years in a row before that, and I was always there on some different like tip. I was always there on like performer more stuff. This time I was pretty much only there to be a part of the company that we're starting, the production company, as well as this situation and all that. But yeah, it ended up being a fucking mess that weekend. I ended up forgetting all my bag back in Vegas and fucking having to go make up my last minute whatever I was looking for to wear. I got in this whole like self-conscious mode, and I was like, whatever. But when I got there, I started talking to people I already know, I already know, and new faces and stuff, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'm here. Might as well just, ride it out.
Once you actually get to the thing,
Yeah.
Everything melts away. And
Yeah.
now you're just amongst your people, you're shaking hands, everybody's in like high spirits. So it's easy to catch that vibe and kind of go, all that anxiety I felt up until this point, now that I'm here, it's kind of all melted away.
Everybody's happy to be there. Like the previous years I've been there, I've always been there on an auspices of like being a performer, being nominated, presenting, whatever, winning, whatever. And always on a lot more than I was, I come in like latex and heavy rubber.
Oh yeah, you used
leather
to
and
go all in,
get
yeah.
it up. Like I was like, bitch, I'm like Lady Gaga in this bitch. But I don't know. This year was just different.
This year you just
It was
wore your
laid back.
potato sack and
Potato sack, yeah, blue potato sack is what
I'm
felt.
sure it looked wonderful, and I also always go a bit low-key when it comes to like award dresses.
Yeah.
My goal is always, okay, I don't want negative attention for my outfit. Like if I'm not the worst dressed person in the room, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a fashion victim. I like to dress nicely, but sometimes I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. And I was so happy that my mom went shopping for my award dress.
Oh
with
my
me.
god!
It was so
Oh my
nice.
god!
Yeah.
Oh wow! I could totally relate to that. I know my mom's went with me for a year before, and that was years where I decided not to wear that one because I was like, well, what if I go more like, reserved and whatever? And then I was with a girlfriend at the time. She was like, no, we'll go slutty, and I was like, okay, well, I'll go slutty.
I swallowed coffee wrong.
Yeah, I was
no.
here.
So I'm dying.
So we gotta cut all this
Don't
out.
choke, please.
Yeah.
It would be a very bad first time being on a podcast for me if the co-host is dying here.
Yeah. Right.
Please don't.
Excuse, main host.
Main host. Oh, I thought like if two people do like a podcast together, both are co-hosts.
I'll have you know, I will remind you whose show this is.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure about the customs here. So
Hey, look.
I didn't mean to offend
I'm
you.
just a little bit of death keeps you humble. I tell you.
Right.
Something I wanted to ask you was, in LA, do you have a particular experience or shoot that you had gone through that either was the first time and super exciting for you, or did you have like a really good day? Like, what's a shoot or a set that like stuck out to you?
Oh, I had like a lot of people I really liked working with. Worked with some people I worked with before there, where it was nice to see each other again and do some new stuff together. Like with one friend, Megan James, I shot some new pen and paper porn together. That was a lot of fun. Like,
Gonna interrupt you. What do you mean by pen and paper?
What is that?
I mean, I really like pen and paper role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And last year we made like a little thing called Dungeons and Dicks. And there's another pen and paper role-playing game that I play a lot at home, Call of Cthulhu. And so we made like a little thing that's going to be called Cox of Cthulhu.
Nice.
And we had a blast doing that. I mean, that was a lot of fun. And A person I haven't worked with before that I got to shoot with this time was Eddie Wood. Like,
Fuck
I
yeah.
brought
Oh,
him
Eddie.
back from retirement.
Our lifetime
and
achiever, lifetime award.
yeah,
achiever.
I was so happy when he replied to
Hell
my
yeah.
DM that he was actually interested in a collab, and we had a great time. And
Fantastic.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we went to IHOP afterwards, which was
Sounds
great.
like Eddie.
It's like my
sounds like Eddie. Nice.
my aftercare, like after shooting in the US. I mean, everyone's making fun of me for liking IHOP so much.
You got to have your garbage restaurant. For me,
Yeah.
it's Waffle House. What about you?
Well, I mean, yeah. We're from Texas.
We're from
so
Texas, so our garbage restaurant's Waffle House. But I've done plenty.
Whataburger, and
I've done plenty of time. Late nights, IHOP, Denny's.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, that's
Absolutely. Oh, Denny's was always the 24-hour. So you get done what you're doing, you go to Denny's and just
that's
pig
my
out
entire
like a
adolescence
pig
there.
afterwards.
3 a.m.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't have these style of 24/7 restaurants in Germany.
In Germany, you don't.
Yeah, and so I really like it. Like also after the awards, I went there with Rebecca Vanguard, and we then went to IHOP at like 2 a.m. in our evening gown, and we were the best dressed people at IHOP ever. It was a lot of fun, and even though the lady at IHOP looked at me a bit weird because I've been there like the 5th day in a row. I wasn't next to my hotel, and I just needed to get my coffee somewhere, right?
Yeah, I've had a Denny's right next to my hotel and just went there like 2 or 3 days. While I was
It's La Quinta Inn, right?
yeah, one of them.
Yeah, that's Spanish for next to Denny's.
Exactly. So, how did you get your start in the industry?
I think, let me think. I've been in the industry since early 2020. I mean, I've done some kinds of sex work before, but I got into shooting porn January 2020, I think, because I think a bit before the COVID wave of people starting an OnlyFans, because I just wanted to try out how I feel like naked in front of the camera. So I filmed like a little shower video of myself to see if I like that being like online. And I felt super comfortable, and it gave me like a huge self-esteem boost. And yeah, then when COVID hit, I started doing webcam and liked that a lot, and it helped me to be more comfortable in front of the camera and practice both dirty talking and talking in English, because English is not my first language. And yeah, then I think my first pro shoot for Groovy I had in 2021 with Cal in London in UK. So that was great. And since then, things have been happening so fast, and the last 2 years just flew by. And I met so many amazing people, and yeah.
Yeah, those first few years, that's wild.
Yeah,
It's
even though
very kinetic.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like when you're based in Europe and you're a trans performer, it's
How
a bit
is
of a
it?
different experience, because I see that these people having their first shoots in the US, and there's like so many opportunities in the US. And I feel in Europe, when it comes to trans porn, I mean, there's some indie stuff happening in Berlin,
I bet.
but there's a lot of less shoots happening, right? And smaller companies. And so
I'm kind of wondering what the scene was like over in that area, because I know like some porn companies used to shoot in like Berlin and stuff like that for like the more extreme stuff, and I
Yeah.
know the laws are a lot different out there than they
yeah,
are.
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always a challenge being based in Germany, I think, as a porn company. I mean, I'm technically self-employed, so
Oh, of
Sure.
course, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
self-employed.
yeah, and a lot of people don't know about the small things that you need to take care of if you want to make business in Germany. Like, I'm not allowed to post nudes on Twitter. That makes my life so hard.
Really?
Yeah, because
Country mandate or
yeah, because I think Germany has like very strict youth protection laws, and technically, if you post a nude pic on Twitter, you're making pornography available to minors on a public platform.
wow, they look at it that way.
Yeah, and you can get like really high fines for doing that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of people get away with it, but I'm just a really anxious person when it comes to stuff like that.
Sure.
The same country that has like a nightclub that also has a piss club at the bottom of it.
Yeah. I mean, there it's just adults going in there, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Germans
I get
are
it.
very like, oh, please think about the children. So,
Yeah. No, of course, that's always
wild.
the scapegoat for the people over here too. And
Yeah.
honestly, if they could have it that way here, they probably would. They would shut sex workers down that
I mean, there's
far.
a lot of stuff happening right now in that direction, right?
Oh yeah, that are proof of that. Like we got TERFs taking pictures with Nazis now. And I'm like, so that's political stuff. We don't have to go into that. That's a whole different podcast.
Just want to kind of get a roundabout idea of things. So your first official shoot, well, call it official was with Groovy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Same here. How about you, Steph?
Groovy.
Was-
No, well, yeah, official pro. Yeah, pro shoot would be for good. No, actually, it's a little bit further back. It's more amateur, but I did get paid for it, and he paid me pretty handsomely, so I gotta admit it. It was some old stuff I did back pre-transition.
Was it like just
mention
dude with a camera, or was it an actual little company?
But he had a little company set up. It was kind of dude. It was dude with a camera, but he had a little company set up. He did like these exams or whatever, like these what are they called? Physicals? Yeah,
Yeah.
physicals. Yeah. And I've always been, kind of gifted in that department, I guess, not to pull my own dick off or blow a load in my own mouth, but yeah.
But yeah, if the money's right, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. If the money's right, and it was right. Yeah. And then he introduced me to the like sketchy part of Dallas before dropping me off at the second time, and I was like,
So-
don't really want to meet him again.
Yeah.
So Dallas.
Yeah, it was Dallas. Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyways, first like official in the main industry of transport. Yeah. Groovy.
Yeah, I always like to get a general consensus about that because it's like the same story. Like that's everybody's first shoot. Groovy gets them early.
Yeah.
They got their ear to the rail. They know who's coming up.
Well, shortly
right away.
after that experience with that person, I was like, okay, well, I'm already doing this. So, all right, let me progress a few years in transition there, a few more than what I was. I already decided I was like, I got to get, finances and stuff. You know how you feel when that ring goes off. You're like, okay, that machete's been ding. That bitch is sharp. But yeah, that's Groovy. I contacted Groovy shortly after that, and he was like, "Yeah, we'd love to have you." He shot my first shoot in Dallas with Omar Wax. And,
Okay, great.
Who? By the way, who was your first photographer for?
Callan London, he's like the UK photographer, and I really like working with him. He's a funny guy, and we've spent a lot of time together, like both in London and in Wales.
Oh, okay, so
I
that's
got to
Europe.
see some of the country. That's nice. I mean,
Might
in
go
Germany,
there.
we don't have a groovy photographer.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
As far as I know, so I always just go to the UK for shooting.
Oh, okay.
But the good thing is, I mean, I'm
Okay,
based
so
in
the UK
Hamburg,
part,
which
okay.
is in the north of Germany, and from
Okay,
there,
okay.
it's just 1.5 hours by flight. And I overcame my flight anxiety for shooting for Groovy, so I was really proud of that.
Good. That's an accomplishment. Absolutely. You don't know how many times, actually. I mean, it's so common to see on social media where girls talk about, it's my first time doing a plane. Oh my God, I'm so scared.
I mean, I'm still scared, but I got my ways to cope now.
Yeah,
so,
good. That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
How many shots do you take? For me, it's two before, and then as much as I can during.
I've seen her routine. It's usually a Jack and Coke on the plane.
I think I used to get like really wasted on the airport and then like take some meds as well because I get like this intense headache on the plane.
Oh goodness.
But last week I actually had my first sober flight because in the winter I was drinking a bit too much too regularly and I didn't like that. So I got sober a few weeks ago and I realized, okay, actually it's possible to fly sober. I was pleasantly surprised, and also I was surprised that I was able to go to the TEAs while staying sober. There was more of a challenge than the airplane.
Yeah.
I didn't drink it all this year either.
Yeah.
Oh, you
No,
Great,
I didn't drink
great.
one drop this year.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I just didn't feel the need to get railed.
Wow. Wow.
I haven't been railed in for the industry in like 5 years. So like, why get railed on? Why be emotional ball and mess at the thing and not get railed?
Yeah. No, actually, yeah. I did the same thing. I drunk a few. I'd say maybe four.
Yeah, you were light. I
Four
noticed,
at the
yeah.
party.
Yeah.
And 4 at the awards.
I didn't make it to the party. That's a whole other story. Lost my phone.
Yeah, we were both lightweights this year.
Found the phone. So
I really enjoyed that because last year I drank a bit too much at the award show, and I felt
I've done it
like I
before.
didn't get to talk to as many people as I would like to.
Sure.
And
you never do. You never get to.
Yeah, but this year was a bit better. Like I was able to talk to some people I always saw but never got the chance to talk to, so that was fun. The party, like on Saturday, there's like this informal party.
The Austin's party.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like that because kind of nice because there the music usually isn't so loud and you can actually talk with a lot of people.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah,
And
'cause
it's like
a
this
house
nice
party,
garden
right?
party and
Nice.
it feels
a
really
garden
relaxed.
party.
Now, Austin's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Austin's
absolutely.
badass.
Yeah, I edited the awards last year for Groovy, and he was one of the people that stuck out to me when I was when I was cutting together the red carpet, and he was on stage for a bit too. So, yeah, it's really cute. So, like, how long were you in LA before the awards? Did you get there just right before and left right after?
I was supposed to arrive in LA on Monday, I think. But then, like, my flight was leaving on Monday in Germany. But then on Saturday, I got like an email that there's going to be a strike in Germany on Monday. No flights leaving from Hamburg.
Oh my God.
Oh my
And
God.
so on Saturday evening, I got on my computer and booked a new flight, new hotel. And then within 12 hours after receiving that message, I got to the airport and flew to the US. And I was so excited all the time. Like my adrenaline kicked in, heart rate at 160 all the time until I finally was on the plane. And so I arrived on Monday. So I had a good week in LA and was able to do a lot of stuff, even though I didn't have time for sightseeing really, except for one evening where I went to the Griffith Observatory. That was a lot
That's a
of
good
fun.
sightseeing.
Oh yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
sightseeing
Very
out
nice.
there.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. I like that a lot. And it's a nice backdrop for selfies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So many times went hiking just to get some selfies.
Yeah.
I lived out there for 4 years, so
Oh, okay, cool.
and the experience is a little different when you're living out there and the words come around because like usually people stick around in town for a bit and you're able to like congregate with people and figure things out. Maybe you plan things ahead of time.
Prior to your start in the industry, were you even a fan of
That's a better question actually.
a porn in general,
Yeah.
and then even trans porn?
Yeah, were you freaky or
Were you already paying attention, or
I think, like, for the most part of my life, I've been pretty prude because I felt super uncomfortable with my body for a long time. I actually had, like, date for reassignment surgery in, I think, 2018, 1 year or 2 years before my industry start. But 1 month before, I had the first blowjob of my life, like receiving. And I was like, wait a minute, this isn't like too bad. And maybe I just have to... Maybe I just have to learn to accept it, and I mean, I totally get it if people want to have like reassignment surgery. But I realized, okay, maybe I don't need it for myself, and I just need to learn that it's okay to be a woman equipped like that and just enjoy myself. And I think that was like my awakening moment, and then I started to get like a lot kinkier. And yeah, because in the relationships I had before, there was always like vanilla sex. I often kept my panties on during sex because
wow?
I was quite dysphoric. But then I fell into this rabbit hole of all the great things that sexuality can be and watched a lot of more porn. And yeah, there I saw like some trans people where I felt, okay, this is actually really cool, and people where I feel, okay, they're so comfortable with their body and it's not necessary to change anything and you're still valid and can have a great time and people see you as a woman. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic!
It's really great when girls can come to that understanding early in the industry, and as just being a transgender person, whether they're a girl or guy or whatever, whether trans female, trans man, whatever. But it's really good when people can get from this industry that sense of like, now I don't want to say validation because that's kind of the wrong thing to search for, even though it's kind of given out to you in awards and attention and stuff like that. But more assurance that like you are desirable.
Yeah.
You are desirable. You don't have to be,
Yeah, despite what society makes us think, right?
Absolutely. You don't have to feel like how you were taught to feel about yourself being a freak or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel that so much. I mean, I grew up in rural Germany, and so like until I was 19, I never knew about like real transgender people. Like the only thing I knew was like Rocky Horror Picture Show and Buffalo Bill.
Oh my God!
Wow. That was like the things I thought, and I thought, okay, I'm just a very femme gay who likes to have long hair and wear earrings. And when I first saw like Andrea Pajic in a magazine, my mind was blown. I was like, oh wait, there's like pretty trans people who are not like weirdos, and it was like mind blowing to me. And I was like, oh wait, so I can be a woman if I want to without being like weird. And that was like absolutely mind blowing. Yeah.
Wow. That
Yeah. Wow. That's
that is as
hell of an
amusing
origin.
as it is heartbreaking.
Yeah,
That's
right.
that's what you. Oh,
Like you were
sweetheart.
you movies and musicals, and then you said, "Oh shit, this is the only thing I could be."
And so I thought, okay, maybe I'm just a very, very effeminate gay, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
turns out I wasn't. So
Absolutely. That's cool. That's really cool. Funny because like my first introductions to trans people before I even realized what trans was like Jerry Springer and stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I know that.
thing.
It's a really trashy talk show
Oh,
Yeah, it's a-
okay.
where it's basically a freak show, a circus. Back when
Okay.
Jerry Springer was a cultural touchstone. This is
no
early
longer,
'90s
really.
to like very early 2000s,
Yeah.
I'd say. He'd have guests on, like cross-dressers, trans people, and it was always, hey, look at these freaks kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it'd always be like titles of, well, you thought I was a woman, look how I tricked you kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
And there'd be conflict, and
Shit
it
that
was
would
trash. It
fuel-
was really,
Shit that would fuel transphobia a lot.
I remember it was
Misunderstandings in people's minds. Like,
Yeah.
oh wow, I should be
Actually-
angry at that.
I think it was, I want to say 2007. The casting coordinator for Jerry Springer contacted me because I was fresh in the business. And again, 2007 is way different time.
Way.
Yeah.
And I made my living on it being such a novel concept, because I was like, when I started and just about started to begin to make my name, trans porn was like right there on the cusp of being like a freak show. Like, it's the kind of goof DVD that you'd buy your buddy for a bachelor party.
Oh yeah, progress along.
Right. So I was right there just as it was starting to just barely become like a more legitimate concept. So when I started, Serena Valentina just started, Bailey J had just started, Kimber James had just started, and so there was this like very beginning crop of kids that were coming up in their early 20s. I think I was 26, 27 at the time, so just a slightly later start. But we all came up at the same time, and up until this point, a lot of trans porn was made up of just like cross-dressers, and it was almost more drag performance. And
A lot of Brazilian at that time.
a
though.
lot,
Yeah.
a lot of things.
Brazilian was ahead of us on the dolls curve.
But when I started, a whole new generation and mindset and crop of kids came up that made people do a double take and went, forgive my parlance, but this was the mindset at the time, and this is how people spoke about it. They look and they go, oh wow, they're making them look really good these days. Have you seen the ones that are coming out of the factory now? Jesus Christ, So all of a sudden, all it took was that, and people started taking things, and these kids with a new mindset were being vocal.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're going to take me seriously.
Yeah.
You're going to take me seriously.
Yeah.
And we started fighting for respect. This is now, I'm talking 2007. I say all that to say this. I was hit up by the casting director or whoever's in charge of the Jerry Springer show to have me come in and be one of those trashy people. And I was like, I'm not having it. And people were in the fight for legitimacy.
be
I was
exploited.
surrounded by a lot of folks in DFW that were, trying to make a name for themselves. I can't drop names,
of
respect for the dead and all that.
Yeah.
But that would have fought tooth and nail to get on Jerry Springer, just for that sense of like validation and chasing fame and
Being on platform.
being on any kind of platform. But I was like, no, this is it. Thanks for the potential opportunity,
Right.
But it's gonna actually mean more if I don't.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's always like worth keeping your integrity over the hype. I mean, I see that sometimes the people
right.
try to provoke these scandals in the industry. I mean, there's some performers, we don't need to name them, but who are just living off of that. And I mean, if you're really struggling to make a living, I don't mind you if you're trying to set up something to promote yourself, but most people, I think, don't really need to act that way, and it's just a shame. So
Well, it's not really part of the culture anymore, too, because I think a lot of us grew past that, like, we're going to be exploited just to get any kind of notice or recognition or anything like that. We were just like, okay, well, we can control a little bit more things, you know. And people on the front lines of that was, of course, the Brazilian girls and the black tea girls here and stuff like that. They were really on the front lines of that. People started seeing us as, you know, an actual, legitimately not out of, I don't know, irony way of being sexy. Like, yeah. And like Vanity was one of the first like women I saw in the industry that was like doing her thing. And like, obviously had that mindset of like, I'm a sexy woman and I'm going to fuck anything I want to.
The girl that I was dating at the time, I was dating a cisgender girl, and her favorite porn performer was Vanity.
Yeah.
And just said she's just pretty as fuck. Yeah. It like the whole trans thing never even came into it.
Nice.
You know? Yeah. But yeah, it's so weird to think back on those days and then to be like where we are now, where now we're actually part of the social discussion. Now we're actually fighting for, you know, civil rights in our way. And it's so weird because, you know, back in, well, shit, all the way up till about 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like, now you guys give a shit all of a sudden? I've been here this whole time. You know? Now everybody gives a shit?
2016, 2017, 2015 was like when we really started making that shift. Like, and you really saw it.
Yeah, but I think that time, then I also saw that in Germany, because before 2015, there was so little information about that in Germany, especially rural Germany where I grew up. And I came out 2015, I think, pretty much. I mean, I've been thinking about it a while before, but that was when I moved out of my parents' home, when I felt like secure to do so. And I think, sometimes I think it would have been nice to come out earlier. I think a lot of us have like this feeling, a little bit of regret maybe of not starting hormones earlier, right? But in the end, I think it was just the right time, because before that, in the early 2010s and 2000s, it was a whole different climate in the whole country.
Time. Yeah, and it was not wistfully there, even though people that say that are usually wistful when they say that.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful for all the people who made the way, like for the people of my generation to come, like both in the whole society as a whole, but also like in porn.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm so incredibly grateful for that. So
actually, you made me remember what I was thinking about.
There you go.
It's like, okay, so it's like being shamed for your sexuality and exploited for it, or owning it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it is now. We know we're sexy. We're fucking owning it. You know, you can't tell us any otherwise, and we're forced to be reckoned with.
Well, like everything about, and we've seen it like happen. The tide started to turn around 2014, but the nomenclature is different.
Yeah, Then we started pushing for things. Well, accept us how we're presenting, like accept us how we are actually coming to the table with these things, and then we started having like, more than just petitions, but like actual like movements to like remove slurs and like, you know, get rid of like the connection of like transsexuals or transgender in general just being a fetish, and like moving fetish as a separate thing, and like, you know,
Right.
So then there was a lot of performers that, you know, put in work before that kind of built up to that moment to be able to do that. You know, I don't know. It's just being in this point in the history in the industry, it's really interesting, because like you're seeing now like stuff that didn't even happen back when I got in 2012. What you would see though is you wouldn't see, there's only a few around like 15 or 16 that ended up getting like mainstream porn industry contracts from like Evil Angel or something like that. Stuff you would never think like a trans person would actually be able to do. So it was like, oh, wow, well, the tide is really changing. And of course, it's based off of like marketability, how fuckable you are, like to everybody has ever, you know, wanted to jerk off to any kind of porn. You know, this is still a looks-based industry, you know, but also it's a lot more performer-producer grind now, since OnlyFans and...
Totally. It's
cool.
Yeah.
Since like other, you know, platforms, and not even just that, but like, you know, ManyVids, and I can name, you know, all, but like that was like the early wave in the content production for the adult industry, was like, you know, the clips for sales. Right. That's been around forever, you know, and then we started getting more power as performers, and we said, well, we don't need studios as much. Yeah. Y'all hire us because y'all want to bolster y'all's brand. So meet us on our terms. You know?
A lot of things started changing when the tools and the means of production were, kind of opened to everybody. Things become a lot more merit-based, and there's a lot more room for people that don't have any other options to find some sense of self-actualization. But the playing field is a little more level for anybody that, wants to grow and develop with this and actually find out if this is even a thing that they want to do. You can keep a roof over your head by doing this without having to rely on the powers that be or playing the amount of politics that are at play are a lot lower behind the scenes. Now, you and me, we come from a world where we straddle the line between completely depending on studio systems in our early days to being there once the tides have changed to where the means of production were put in my hands or our hands. In fact, I have an early award sitting over there for best solo site, and there was no such thing as ManyVids or OnlyFans. And you'd I made all my capital off of being a sex worker. I'd take all that money and I'd go buy equipment, and I'd go, buy domains and get server space and get my own credit card billing, CC bill or whatever it is, NATS, whatever it is, and set up these systems so that I could, from the ground floor, build up my own tiny little thing outside of having to rely on studios. And that was the only other way that you could do it. Like, you had to have, I'm a super nerd. So, I had to do it that way.
Yeah.
But eventually, that's why it stopped being, the award stopped being best solo site. And it just started being like best creator, best like self-producer, best content producer. Because now that availability for everybody to be able to do things on their own is so much more prevalent. And I think that's amazing.
But performers like you are kind of, I think, the reason why the tides changed, because y'all stepped up and took that role. So you you were able to make that separation away from the companies, or maybe even get hired from the companies to do technical shit, get more on the back end, or, be on just evolving. Sex work is nothing if it isn't for evolving. Right. And,
well, and I think a lot of it has to do, with the kind of person you are. Yeah. Like, I was at the right time in the right place.
Of course, yeah.
Prosumer equipment was, we'll call it easily accessible for somebody like me that made easy money through sex work, quote unquote, easy money.
No, yeah, totally.
I was working within the margins of the system, getting a lot of capital for work that not everybody wants to do. Not everybody can do. It's a privileged position. Yeah, it is. Because the market for sex work, it's a looks-based business.
Yeah.
So it can only bear so much. But right time, right place. The ability to make and squirrel away money, and then be able to go down to like a Fry's Electronics and be able to grab an $800 piece of equipment, a $600 piece of equipment, and also, like, the third thing is have enough of a chip on my shoulder to go, well, fuck you, I'm not getting hired, I'll make it myself.
Yeah.
And then a few years down the road, you get your OnlyFans and your ManyVids and all these different systems that create, for a percentage, and especially with the proliferation of phones that can take decent footage, now all these ingredients start coming together. And, if you have a chip on your shoulder, if you want to do it and you don't want to wait for, the phone calls, and also being trans folks, if you can't get a job any other way, sometimes we do it out of ambition. Sometimes our back's against the wall. And
most
we just
of the time
do anything that we can.
Most of the time, this shit is for survival based. If you have a way to enter it and figure out your plan and get it in order and time and stuff, it might not be more for survival. But it just depends on how you can mold it and how you're actually afforded to mold it and whatnot. But yeah, I would like to see a lot more people be successful. And see, that's the reason why for so long is because we were separated away from that budget. We were waiting on people to break us off some piece of the pie so we could actually, live first off. And now then we start growing capital after we're able to get, any kind of, system traction or whatever like that. So, it's just really, it's really cool seeing this era. And and OnlyFans and stuff, looked at the mani-vids and stuff, and then I'm sure looked at also Twitter and stuff, and we're like, okay, they're kind of promoting these things on this site, so let's just make something and cut out this way of doing this, and then make money from them, because it's always about who can make us the most money, and sex workers pretty much built the internet. Sure, there's other reasons it was invented, and we can go into that in a whole different other podcast if we want to start a history podcast, I guess. I don't know. Get my NPR voice on.
Oh, I like that voice.
How do you think the industry has been treating you so far? Do you think that you've been able to make as much out of it as you'd hoped?
I think my possibilities are a bit more limited because I'm based in Germany. I mean, especially the trans porn industry seems to be smaller there.
Location is a factor.
Location is a big factor. And I feel like that's also a reason why I had to put in a lot of more work than some US-based performers, because I just can't get so many shoots in, even though companies seem to like working with me and book me again.
Imagine they do.
So, yeah, but still, I feel like most of my income is really from self-producing stuff.
Yeah.
And
your boss.
Yeah. And I mean, I really like that part of it because I'm also a huge nerd in some ways.
Nice.
And I like learning
technicals and stuff.
More about camera work and formats and editing. And I think it's a lot of fun.
That's the one that's going to keep you more steadily.
And by now I actually prefer trade shoots over paid shoots, because I know that in the long term it's going to profit me more.
Yeah.
So
very smart.
Yeah, and I like that in trade shoots it feels like I have more say in things. I mean, I think it's changed a lot, how much performers can form the way a scene is made, and especially also with being super content focused. I think that also changed in the last years a lot, right? And that the industry is becoming a lot more ethical.
Yeah, now there's scripts and learn your lines and stuff, and we're gonna record this up front, and then we can get maybe it turns into sex after that. It was. Take your dick out, baby, on the couch.
Slouch on that couch and pull it out.
Exactly.
And I mean, so that's something I really like. I mean, I've also been on some sets that were a bit dodgy, and I mean, especially in Germany, there's still this cliche of the weird porn producer, and I mean, some people fit that cliche, so
of course,
yeah. But in general, I feel that the industry has been treating me pretty well, and I mean, but there's also so much to learn, and I feel
good way to look at
if you want to be treated well, you also just be careful with your boundaries, right? And know, okay, I want to do that, and I won't do that even if people offer me more money for it, and be really strict about that. And
it's the thing, you can set boundaries. It's something you can do now. Our brains have changed. Consent has become a whole thing, and it always has been, but we've kind of just accepted it to be a part of this whole traditional thing,
this sense of being afraid to make waves is quickly becoming a thing of the past.
Self-autonomy is much more of a in thing now. People aren't oh, shut the fuck up, you deserve this.
And I think it's also because of career longevity. If you want to be in this for the long run, you just gotta watch out for your energy. And I mean, it's kind of funny to me, I've been only in this industry a bit more than 3 years now, in the online sex work part of things. And I've seen some people come and go already, and that's so wild.
Oh yeah, it's a huge turnover rate. I've always said this. It rivals telemarketing. Turnover, because it's not for everybody. Again, and you'll find that a lot of it is. We still got a lot of people coming in just from a sense of desperation. Their heart was never really in it to begin with.
Yeah.
They get some things. They're like, no, this is way too much. I'm not this kind. I'm just not built this way. And then they're gone. You know,
Yep.
there's all
Have
kinds of
bad
reasons.
experiences.
There's all kinds of reasons
Yeah.
why the turnover rate
Yeah.
is so high, but that is just kind of the lay of the land.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Well, it's like especially in any creative field. I always said that we are in the entertainment business. We're just on the lowest rung of the ladder. You know?
Right underneath reality TV stars.
Yeah, right underneath reality TV stars.
Yeah.
But it is a discipline,
Yeah.
and you have to have that entertainer bug in you. If you're in this industry for like validation, or you're coming from like a really traumatic place, and
You're gonna get hurt.
you're gonna get hurt. Yeah, we're here to service customers, and we're here to hone our craft and hope that those two things eventually match, and have the tenacity and the patience to stick around if we really want to enjoy the fruits of our labor in the long run.
We got to have time to hone our experience to what we want it to be, because it might not always be the best reasons you're getting in. A lot of reasons for survival. You don't always say, oh, okay, I'm going to be the next porn star, da 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 da. You're just like, oh, I need a transition.
Yeah, for me it was kind of similar, because I got into like sex work as a wider business out of like more or less desperation, because I needed money, but at the same time at that point I broke up with my boyfriend and was really unsatisfied. So I was like, okay, if I'm gonna have hookups, I might as well make some money out of it, right?
Goddamn right.
And it was similar with porn, and at first it was like, okay, I was in art school at that time, and I wanted to figure out a way how to turn like art into money. Like, I've been doing art for like 10 years and I didn't make a living and was just barely scraping by.
Art,
and realizing,
as in,
okay,
like traditional art, like paints or
yeah,
what?
I used to do sculpture and painting and so on. But I also had like this DSLR, this really cheap one, and I figured out, hey, people actually like seeing naked T-girls, and that was like the moment where it made click in my head. I was like, okay. And also it was like the start of COVID, like, okay, now I actually have like time to do this stuff. And I got pretty burned out from the fine arts world and wanted to go into something different. And I felt, okay, like in the porn industry, the porn industry, I can put a lot of my knowledge to use. Also, like the drama classes from high school finally paid off, right?
Yeah. Nice. So you're an ex-theater kid or what?
Kind of like in Germany we have these focused classes in the last years of high school, where you are either making like your high school diploma in science class or in like the language focused class, and I was in the musician and drama focused.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I think back in the day, I felt super uncomfortable doing theater because I was so uncomfortable with my body. But I had a great teacher there, and it helped me a lot also, like in the early stages of transitioning, like feeling comfortable with myself and being more...
Performing kind of at that time?
Yeah.
Like wanting to like authentically represent yourself, but also like not really knowing how to.
Yeah, exactly. Like trying out and being like brave.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
those years that you get to spend as a teenager as like a cisgender.
Yeah. Like every day feels like stepping on stage, right?
Exactly.
I mean, when I moved out and I moved to a new city, and as soon as I moved out, I was just going full time as a girl, basically.
That's great.
And I don't know, like the first times I always felt like going on stage when I went to the city, because I wasn't so sure about my sense of fashion. So I made a lot of mistakes, but it's okay. And in the end, I think that it helped.
Who hasn't?
Yeah, that helped me a lot with porn as well, because you got to make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And
That's what you grow from.
What?
That's what you grow from. Your mistakes.
Exactly. And I mean, when I look at my first video, bathroom, shower, no lighting, vertical.
Well, to be fair, a lot of porn went back to being verticals, and now they were stationed on our phones on OnlyFans and stuff like that.
Yeah, though I don't really get the hang of OnlyFans. Like I think I'm more used to like the tube sites and the clip stores. That's what I feel more comfortable with, because I'm not like a social media person. I didn't have a smartphone until 2017.
2017, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so and I still feel like such a boomer whenever I try to do like stuff on social media. But now I got the hang of Twitter and Instagram, but on TikTok I still feel so old.
I don't think I ever will get on TikTok, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the sake of your own sanity, it's probably better. So.
Well, there's the whole negative side, but then there's also like there's a whole another thing you have to learn. whole other thing. And I'm already tired of the whole Twitter and fucking Instagram and all that
So much,
shit.
right?
I don't want to learn it on the whole thing.
I just want to shoot porn and be sexy on camera,
Absolutely.
right?
I miss those years, like where you could just be a hot person, post some things, and then be like, "Hey, you want to work? You want to work? You want to work?"
Yeah, and
But also, being autonomous and making your own content and having that way to shape it yourself is so much more better because it, affords you longevity.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're coming up on that time, and I was going to ask, just to kind of round things out, if you had, let's say, 3 pieces of advice. Now you're 3 years in, right? We all know new people that are coming in. We know people are coming in as like recent as 6 months ago. You got 3 years under your belt. What are 3 pieces of advice that you give somebody that's just coming in that's new?
Oh, there's so many things I'd like to share with people. I think the most important thing is to be kind and reliable, because I think that's like a currency that's so undervalued by some people in the industry, and it's so important because I felt like most of the friends I made in the industry I just made because I show up and people know I'm a person. When I say I'm gonna be there, I'm going to be there, I will be there, and I'm friendly to everyone I meet. And I think that helps you so much, just not bringing this diva attitude
Yes.
to the
Being
table.
responsible and kind gets you a long way.
Like just today I saw on Twitter, I saw a post that being young, gay and mean isn't a substitute for personality, and I love that so much.
Oh my God.
And
yes.
yeah, just be kind and show up. That's like the most important
Yes.
thing. And also if people don't want to work with you, just accept that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, sometimes I reach out to people for collabing and they're just not interested, and that's totally fine. And I do my best not to make people uncomfortable who don't want to
Of
shoot with
course.
me.
Yeah.
And just saying, hey, that's cool. Maybe if we want to hang out,
Yeah.
that's something else. But yeah, that's like the one piece of advice: being friendly at all times, bringing a good attitude with you. The other thing is own your name and like get like the domains, get like all the social media with your stage
Hoping
name.
you went that route. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
do your research when you pick your stage name, right? I mean, I made a little mistake. I mean, on the one hand, I was really
name is great.
Yeah, well, I did. I was very SEO focused when I picked my stage name, so it's like the only thing that pops up. My porn is when you type my name, it's like the only thing that pops up, except for one thing, and I feel so sorry about that because there's this girl doing book reviews with the same name.
Oh.
And I feel so incredibly sorry for her. So if you hear this, Emily Adaire doing book reviews, please, I beg for your forgiveness. I only saw it like a few years later when it was too late, and I hope you're not too mad at me.
You get 2 wildly different experiences there. You search for Emily Adaire. You either get somebody saying, well, Moby Dick, or you get people just,
Oh, Emily's Deck, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's the second piece of advice: own your name, like get all the domains, but also do your research so that you don't like harm other people unintentionally.
yeah.
And I think
That's
the
bad
third
being
piece
kind,
of
yeah.
advice is just sticking to what you're comfortable with.
Boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries, having fun. Like I try to do both. Like I see what kind of stuff people like what I do. Like I see it, okay, people really like when I'm topping as well, so I do that a lot and I enjoy it too. And people like a lot of my gonzo kind of scenes and the reality stuff that everyone makes, right?
Well, I think you had your top awakening a long time ago when you got that blowjob before you got SRS. You're like, holy shit.
I mean, that changed a lot. Like, I realized that I try out a lot of new things. I try to try out at least everything once.
Yeah.
And then I see, okay, either I like it or I don't. And if I don't do it again, right?
Yeah, totally. I like to, yeah, and there's a performance side, like, you want to be able to, perform to the best of your ability and like maybe do some stuff outside of your comfort zone because that's how you like, have fun, but you have boundaries.
Yeah, and then you explore new things, but also
New
like
things, yeah.
besides doing the stuff that sells well, you every once in a while you need to do projects that are just close to your heart
Oh,
for
yeah.
the sake of your own sanity. Like
Passion
if I was
projects.
just producing like German gonzo porn, I would totally lose it. And so every once in a while I need to make like silly, nerdy projects that don't sell at all.
Narrative based stuff.
Yeah, or like just stuff that I really, really want to do. Like last year, I did like the first Mr. Robot porn in history, I think, where I was cosplaying as Darlene Alderson from the show, and I had like
seen the
such
show.
a blast, and it was so much fun to me. And I think that scene it sold like maybe 3 or 4 times.
Nice.
But it was really a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun creating it. And I think it's really important, like
Yeah.
every once in a while, just to do stuff where, okay, this isn't going to be commercially viable, but it's just fun to make, and people see like your personal side to do things. And yeah, I think that's the last piece of advice. Like, do stuff that sells well to
Yeah.
make a living, but also do stuff for the fun of it. And
Absolutely have to. Yeah.
All right, so I'm hearing be kind, be present, pick your name and own it appropriately, and make content that you're comfortable with, and every once in a while throw yourself a bone and do something that doesn't make any money whatsoever.
yeah, thanks for summing that up. Like sometimes I'm a bit bad in keeping myself short, especially because I think it's easier because English is not my native language. Like sometimes I just keep rambling on trying to explain what I mean.
English is my native
You're
language,
fine.
and I ramble on, can't finish a story.
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
I started out strong, but can't finish it.
Yep, just about to fire you, Stephanie. And with that, thank you so much, Emily. This has been just a pleasure, just a joy.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been my first podcast ever, and I felt so comfortable with you. And I knew you before, and I knew that I liked you because you're an amazing person to be around with. And it was a pleasure to meet you for the first time today.
It's really is a total pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, and
I think I might have saw you at the awards. I don't know if I said hi or not. Yeah.
I don't know. There were so many
There's
people.
so many people. Yeah.
Maybe next year. And
No,
also,
definitely, yeah.
I'm gonna be in Vegas sooner than later. So
Oh yeah, we'll see each
No,
other
I
again.
can't. Like, I mean, it's difficult getting visas.
No, I
as a
get that,
sex
I get that.
worker, so
Absolutely. Oh,
maybe
yeah,
we shouldn't
gosh.
have that on the podcast.
And with that,
Yes.
goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. And we're out.